Hi, it's another day and another guitar. And this is another of my guitars I've had for quite a while now. It's not a guitar I play very often, but it's the Tanglewood 12-string guitar, TW145/12SC. It's a lovely guitar. I'll tell you something about the details of this instrument. It's got a solid cedar top, solid mahogany sides and back. The back's really lovely. It has a mahogany neck, and also on the back it's a solid piece all the way through to the head. So this is solid here. It's not sort of glued on. And it has at the back a very interesting feature which is called a volute. And you can see this quite in the light here. This has added extra strength to this point here, which is, I guess, the maximum point of strain on the neck, between the neck and the head. So a lovely guitar. It has a rosewood fingerboard, 20 frets with very nice Abalone dot inlays of various types. You can see sort of clover leaves or diamonds or all sorts of things, very pretty inlays, and also of course dot inlays on the fingerboard, which you can see is actually bound. So there's maple wood binding on the top, around the top, purfling here, and actually on the bottom as well, and the purfling runs up the sides of the fingerboard as well. What else to tell you about it? Well, it does have a piezo pickup and B-band preamplifier there, and I'll try and demonstrate that for you in a little while. A lovely guitar. Obviously the input or the output from the guitar is here at the strap button end. The odd thing about this guitar, it has obviously one strap button there, of course, but it has no strap button at this end here in the upper bout. And so I think they think if you're going to play this, you're going to have a strap going from right across from the bottom here, right to the neck end. Now, that's not a great idea because it puts additional pressure on the neck, which is already under huge tension anyway. And it's quite a heavy instrument. Particularly because of the 12 tuners on the top, which actually work really well. So really it needed to have a strap button here, which is of course easy to add, but it's just a kind of it would have been nice to have it on the original purchased instrument. Tell you something about the nut width. The nut width is 47 millimeters. Now that's quite narrow. For example, my classical guitar has a nut width of 50 millimeters, and that compares, if you like, with nut widths on standard acoustic steel string guitars of about 44. So it's quite narrow, and I find I can't really pick it well for fretting and picking, especially with big mitts and finger ends like mine. So, what else to tell you about it? I think that really covers virtually everything. It does hold its tuning very well. For example, I haven't played it probably in a month or 6 weeks. And I just came to it today and I had to tune it up very slightly, just a few percent or something off tune. And that's really quite impressive for a steel string guitar, particularly with the fluctuating weather conditions that we have in the UK. So that's really impressive. String length, 648 millimeters to the top E paired strings, so standard kind of string length on it. I guess I'll just give you an example of kind of what it sounds like, and we can tell. It's a very resonant guitar, makes a lovely sound, especially when it's properly in tune, and there's nothing worse, I think, than a out of tune 12-string guitar. And of course, if you gig around and you take it to various places where there's a lot of ambient temperature changes and humidity, it can go out of tune very easily. They're a devil to tune if they go out of tune, and it's a noisy place. Anyway, we're not in a noisy place now, it's quite quiet, so here it is. So here's an example of its sound now. This is just straight onto the microphone. It doesn't have the piezo pickup on now. So a lovely long lasting resonance, as you might expect from a solid top guitar. As I say, it's got a B-band preamp in it. So now I'll just give you the sound from the preamp. And what the preamp does tends to emphasize the bass. And of course you could adjust that, but at the moment the acoustic guitar amp I have is everything in mid position in terms of bass, treble and so on, and the same thing with the controls on here, which obviously are treble, bass, presence, and a few other groups like you can control obviously the volume from this point as well. So here's the sound coming through the guitar preamp, and the acoustic guitar amp. So the Tanglewood TW145/12SC. They're still around. I think just having a quick look this morning, I could find a few companies that are selling this guitar, some of the big music warehouses, and I think you can pick them up second hand. I think you need to be careful buying 12-string guitars, particularly second hand, just because they need to be looked after very carefully. If they're not looked after, you could be probably very disappointed, and you will almost not have any comeback with a second hand instrument. I don't find this the easiest of guitars to play, just because I think my fingers are quite thick, but of course it's great for strumming, not so much for picking, but it's a great instrument for strumming. So if you can find one and you want a 12-string guitar, there are quite a lot on the market. Many of them are quite big jumbo guitars. This is obviously quite small. It's like a kind of you can see a cutaway triple O type of size, maybe a little bit, with a really very large, relatively large lower bout, and that's what produces the wonderful resonance in it. So if you want a 12-string guitar, I would say go and look for one of these. Be careful how you're buying them second hand. They could be, you could end up with a bit of a lemon, as we say. Anyway, thank you very much for watching my videos. Thank you very much for subscribing. I do try to reply to any questions or comments you have. That's if I can find a good reply for them. And again, thank you very much for watching, and all the best.